Hello again everyone, Mary Rose here at Stitch Bliss Corner. I hope you're having a good day and things are going well for you. I just thought I would just drop by to update you on what I've been doing on my FFO from Maynia, Dreaming of Tuscany. I managed to get that into a frame in fairly short time. Which is one of my requirements because I don't really like anything that gets me away from my stitching, so a frame has to be pretty quickly done. There was a little bit of fiddling in the pre-frame part, which I shall show you soon. And also I will be updating you on the new start that I commenced after Maynia. Well, it was the last week of Maynia because I'd finished the Dreaming of Tuscany. So then I went on to Be Still My Soul by Mark Missman, who we created a chart for it. And I shall go through what my findings are with that chart a little bit later. So anyway, let's get on with Dreaming of Tuscany by Barbara Filiski. Now, I wanted to use a frame like that. I've got two of these. And William Shakespeare actually was in here once. But he's quite happily moved on. He thinks he's famous enough. So he's... Anyway, so that was the sort of frame that I wanted to use. I liked the wood and I liked the gold for the Tuscany piece. But then I found when I put the piece in that there was quite a border around. And I didn't really want to put a mat in because I felt it made it, it enclosed it in a bit too much for my liking. So I decided to go down a different path. And what I did was there was a gap between the frame and the stitched piece. And I felt that I wanted to leave the Ada as the border because I like the colour and I food dyed it myself, so I just wanted to have it there. But when I put the frame around it, it looked too stark for me. So then I thought, well, if I could use a little bit of stitching, that might do the trick. So I'll just show you, well, I'll show you the picture first and then I'll show you the where I got the design from and everything. That's what I came up with. Because as you can see, if you just put that in without this, it would be a bit stark. But I quite like the effect because it's like a window within a window and it just gives another dimension to it. And as you know, I'm a big Ada fan. I like the appearance of Ada. I like the structure of it. And I think you can either look at the structure or you can not see it. It's got that property about it, and the evenness of the stitches and everything is excellent. So anyway, that's my FFO. I have to tilt it a bit because of the lights, and what I did, I'll just show you the design. One of my sons got me a cross-stitch magazine for Mother's Day. He usually gets me flowers, but the dreaded virus sort of interfered with that. So this is the latest magazine, The World of Cross Stitching. Should have a number, shouldn't it? But I know everybody has problems with getting numbers and things, but anyway, that's what it looks like, 2020. And It's a Maria Diaz design, and I can't show you the actual design because she's, because she's just got the charts there. But I'll just show you Maria. I did a video on her once, and she's a wonderful artist. But Maria's, let's see, that was the design there without this part. I added that myself because I just thought it needed something in the corners. So yeah, so I just added a little bit to Maria's design. But I think I like the way it echoes these leaves here and sort of connects the foreground with the background. So that's Dreaming of Tuscany, and Harlequin is well pleased with that. That was his choice for Maynia, and who am I to stand in the way of what he wants? Right, anyway, so was there anything I had to add to that? No, well, my memory is improving. Right, now to my new start, which I have not been able to put down ever since I picked it up. So I think what I might do now is go to the stages of Be Still My Soul stitching, and then I will come back and discuss all about it after this. Right. So, now then, just to refresh your memory, this is the painting that we took the chart from. Now, the chart is a computer program, which I linked in my last video, and Harlequin might put a link down underneath this one. And this is what the computer printout gave us for 20 count, 12 by 15 inches, 20 count, 150 colours. So there he is. Now, I'll just show you the actual stitching here. And if you notice, the face on here is slightly lighter than the face here. What happened was I was doing this hand, because I always start in the middle, and then I went down to the hand here, and when I was doing it I was thinking, my goodness, those are dark colours there. And because of that, and because there's so much stitching involved, I thought, well, I'll just do a test face, which I did do on this, I think this is 18 count. So I did a test face just to see there the eyes there and the nose and the mouth. I didn't finish, but I just wanted to get a feel of what the face would look like. And I was quite happy with it. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I will press on and use the colours that the computer has suggested. Because when you use this program, you have the image up there on the screen, and the colours on the palette at the side that correspond with the colours on the actual chart. You have your palette on the side, and then you have the suggested thread colour next to it. So I'll just show you here. So I've got all my threads in there, because when I use a thread, when I've got some left over, I just put it next to the symbol. Oh, sorry, I'm just got too many things on my lap here. Excuse me. Yeah, I put the symbol, there's the symbol there, the colour, and if I have some thread left over, I just pop it through the paper there. And then if I need a smaller amount, I've got it there, or I can go to the main skein supply and just get a longer thread. So it just makes it a little bit easier for me. But see, these are the suggested colours here, you know. So I would say that for this particular one, because it's like a model stitch, I'm pretty much sticking to the suggested colours on the computer. But I would suggest to anyone, if they're feeling that the colours are a bit dark for them, you could match up what you think the colour should be with your DMC threads. I think that is the lament of some people too. I hear quite a lot about people who buy a design, and then they get the threads for it, and the design is a different colour to the actual picture on the design. And then they either, get used to what the new colours are, or they decide to pick from their own supply and put whatever colours they think fit best. Now, I've used this program twice before, and I really haven't had this situation where it's been a bit dark. I don't know why that is. I can't explain it. But I really like how it's turning out, because the other side of it is you can't really be sure about your tones until the whole piece is finished, because you've still got the background to go. And if you put a colour with a darker colour, it will look lighter. And if you put the colour with a lighter colour in the background, it looks darker. It's what, you know, your eye does things. So I think I want to see how it looks as a whole before I judge whether I'm fully happy with the tones in the face or not. At the moment, I'm quite excited by how it's turning out. I think it's looking pretty good. But by the same token, because it's an artwork, I would like to have it fairly authentic to the piece. But then again, if I'm happy with it, well, it really doesn't matter. And I could easily stitch it again and just turn the saturation down on the program, because I wanted the colours to be strong. But if I wanted a lighter tone for the face, I could turn the saturation down, get that the palette for the face, and then turn the tone back up for the rest. I could do that, but I just want to see how it will go. So far, I'm very happy with it. I'm quite excited to get down to the ocean and everything, you know. So that's really the main thing that I wanted to say for people who are thinking of using the program, that the last 2 times I've used it, it has come out pretty much in colour and everything else almost identical to the actual picture. But in this case, for some reason that Harlequin and I can't really fathom, it's looking a little bit darker, but I just don't know why that is. And see, the hair, that was another thing. There, that is pretty much all, well, it was black, and I didn't really want black. I don't really like using black in my stitching. I usually use the very dark brown, because I don't think there's many things that naturally occur as black, you know. So I just like the dark brown. So I stitched that in dark brown, but there were no variations in the chart at all, and that went for the hair up here as well. And I thought, well, I don't want, you know, a black helmet. So I put my own little palette together of using these colours, which, as you can see, they're pretty vibrant. You've got orange there, and sort of, well, I don't know what to describe that colour as, dark orange. Anyway, so I used those with a bit of purple because I wanted to get sort of like a wave through his hair and almost a parting there. See that bit there, that is the program. That's what it's done. But from there over here, that's what I've done, rather than have, because the program just had all dark, well, it had all black, which I converted to dark brown. But I just didn't want all dark brown there, so I put some other colours in. But see, I don't know, I just think, yeah, see, that's really lovely, isn't it? And see, the lighting isn't good this morning, but Yeah, and those fingers and that thumb. So anyway, I spend a lot of the time just looking at it thinking, oh, this is just so exciting, which it is. Of course it's exciting. And look at all the different colours there in that blue sky, which is very true to the image here. Well, how can I do that? Yeah. So, see, even here, this colour, well, this is just the printout anyway, so you can't really compare it to that. You'd have to compare it to the computer screen. But in any case, suffice it to say that Mary Rose is really quite excited about the whole thing. And this is 20 count Ada. And the background is single thread over 1, and the foreground is 2 threads over 1, because I wanted him to stand out against the sky, which it certainly, you can see that is happening. Now, the coverage on the 20 count Ada single thread is excellent. You can't see any white at all. Now, the double thread, 2 threads, it does make the stitching a little tiny bit more tight, but not very much. I haven't noticed it like I did with Hardanger, because I did use Hardanger 22 count. I was going to do the original Harlequin, the Harlequin picture that I did. Originally I was doing that in 22 count, and I found it was really, really tight in the stitching, 2 over 1. So then I went to 18 count, and 18 count is really good. It's fabulous. I did Scout in 18 count. But for the single thread in the background, with 18 count you can still see a little bit of white. That really doesn't show if you've got it on the wall in the distance, you wouldn't even know. But if it bothers you, then 20 count is absolutely perfect for if you want to have that distance effect. I mean, I could have done the background with 2 threads, the same as the figure, but then, and it still would have looked a little bit in the background, but not quite as much as I like. I just like that, you know, the way it stands out. Now, I'll just have a look and see if there's any more that I have to tell you. Oh yes, now the chart. I like to use the black and white chart. Here's a part of it. And those are some of the symbols. Sorry, I've got it upside down. Oh no, it's right way up. Yeah, so that's what I like to use. But the program also does give you a colour. Which is very good if you want to do the edge. If you're doing the single thread background, it's a lot easier to see where the figure finishes and where the background starts. You know, sometimes the colours are similar or something like that, but you can get the outline. So I use it for that, so I can get the outline of the figure and make it easier to go to my single thread. So basically that's my update. I shall continue to model stitch this. As I say, it's doing that sky is so satisfying because it's got the different blues in there, but it's using the single thread as well over the 20 count. There's a real satisfaction because it's even the way the needle goes through the holes. It's just very satisfying and very relaxing. So, that always does you good, doesn't it? And the subject matter, of course, that's a very calming subject matter. And I know that if I have to go to the dentist, which I don't like going to the dentist. I'd go to the doctor 1,000 times over and go to the dentist. But, when I'm sitting in the dentist's chair, I just visualize a figure like this. I just think of him, and it just relaxes me so much that I'm fine. And I do that if I have to go in for surgery or whatever it may be. That is what I focus on. I just focus on the face or the figure. And I'm so fortunate now that I have this particular image, because before, of course, I had an image, but now I have this one. And this just gives me great peace and serenity, which is just what you need when you're facing something that you find traumatizing. You take your mind to another place. Some people, they visualize being on a beach or, in a forest, and they take themselves out of the situation that they're in as far as they possibly can, anyway. I mean, sometimes you do have to answer questions. It's a bit easier when you're in the dentist's chair because you couldn't answer anyway. So, they might ask you something, but you've got a perfect excuse as to why you can't answer back. Anyway, so that was my little top-up of what I'm doing. And as I say, I do appreciate anyone that decides to come by. Thank you so much for your comments and your interest. In the comments, someone was talking about my guitar here in the background, and it's a 12-stringer, because when I first met Harlequin, he's always been a fan of Gordon Lightfoot, and he plays a 12-string guitar. And I had a 6-stringer then, and my husband-to-be said, well, you really haven't heard a guitar until you've heard a 12-stringer. And so anyway, we got one. And yes, it is. It's a lovely, rich tone. And I did used to play, especially when the children were younger. I used to do some John Denver songs. And Grandma's Featherbed was a favourite, and they all used to fall about laughing. So I used to play, but see, you get calluses on the tips of your fingers that you need when you're playing, because you have to press the strings down pretty hard. And of course, it's been so long since I played that I don't have those anymore. And so I don't think I'll be playing. And I don't think the world's ready for me to be singing and playing. That's for sure. No, was there anything else? I don't think there's anything else. I think I'm just getting into the waffling territory now. Once I start talking about my musical capabilities or lack thereof, it's time to pull the curtain down. So, all the best until I see you again. And it's goodbye now from Mary Rose.